Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's talk straight here. This is for you, the managers, the owners, running small to medium market research agencies. You see the AI revolution happening, right? You know it's huge for our industry, but maybe you feel a bit stuck on the sidelines. Like you've got mountains of valuable data, maybe years worth, but actually using AI to get those really deep next level insights. That feels like it needs a whole data science team, maybe a ton of new expensive tech you just don't have. Sound familiar?
Oh, absolutely. And what's really striking is how widespread that feeling is. There's this strong sense that agencies are basically sitting on a gold mine, insights-wise, within the data they already possess. But the old ways of digging it out, they're just not cutting it anymore. Too slow, often too costly. And yeah, they demand those specialist skills that smaller teams, well, they struggle to access.
Exactly. So this deep dive, we're looking at how that might be changing. We're exploring how AI could actually empower your agency right now, using the data you've already got, to go way deeper, to work smarter, more efficiently, and give your clients significantly more value. And the key part, without needing a PhD in AI or, breaking the bank on new tools, our main source today is Citrus. They're AI-powered, specifically built for, well, people like you, consumer insight data owners, especially those small to medium independent agencies. Their whole mission is tackling the #1 unmet need in market research, finding smarter ways to get real value out of our existing data.
And that mission lines up perfectly with what you see in industry surveys.
Yeah.
The biggest headache for both the agencies doing the research and the clients paying for it is finding better ways to use the data they already have. It's sitting there. Agencies need to be more efficient, more competitive, obviously, and the buyers. They want to see a much clearer ROI on what they spend on research. So what we really want to get into today is how Citrus might potentially level the playing field. Could it give your agency access to AI tools that mean deeper insights, better efficiency, and a real competitive advantage?
Okay, let's unpack that unmet need a bit more then. The sources point to this central challenge, and I bet many listeners recognize this. How do you really squeeze every last drop of value from data you've already collected and paid for? Basic cross-tabs aren't always enough now. Clients expect more, right? Deeper stuff, predictive insights. And that often means jumping into more advanced analytics, which can feel like a massive step.
Yeah, hugely. And often the insight from the sources is that smaller agencies just prioritize the basics because of time. They have to, which means potentially missing those killer findings that would really wow the client.
Right. Which leads directly into this resource problem, doesn't it?
It hits home hard for smaller agencies. Just thinking about advanced analytics can feel like, well, hitting a brick wall sometimes. First, there's the time involved. Often, it's just prohibitive. Then, yeah, the cost of specialist software. But honestly, the biggest hurdle is often finding and affording data scientists. These folks have very specific, very in-demand skills. They aren't cheap. And this puts smaller agencies at a real disadvantage compared to the big global players who can just, build those teams internally. It can also mean MR buyers feel their options are kind of limited, maybe relying on the same few suppliers who happen to have those skills.
Right. So how does Citrus help with that specific resource problem? For agencies, it sounds like they're aiming for accessibility.
That's exactly the angle. Citrus is designed to make advanced analytics, well, faster using AI automation, easier with user experiences that guide you, and ultimately better through machine learning. But importantly, also more accessible and way lower in cost. Yeah, this is a really punchy claim, actually. A 3-day job done in 1 hour, no data scientist required.
Wow.
Yeah. That really sums up the potential, doesn't it? Yeah. Letting smaller teams do sophisticated work without that massive traditional overhead of time and specialist staff.
A 3-day job in an hour. Okay, that would be a huge shift. Now, another really interesting angle is the consolidation problem. And I know this firsthand. Agencies have these huge archives, right? Past projects, valuable data, just sitting there. Dead data, almost.
Oh, totally. It's super common. You do study after study, year after year. Each one has great stuff in it, but they all live in their own little silos. Different project folders, different file formats maybe, different storage systems. And right now, combining all that, trying to spot bigger trends across studies, or answer a new client question using old data, it's often just too hard or impossible.
Yeah.
So what happens? Agencies end up doing new research and stuff they've kind of already covered. Or clients end up paying again for data that technically they already own somewhere because finding and pulling together the old stuff is just too difficult.
It's a massive missed opportunity, isn't it? All that untapped value.
Exactly. For the agency and the client.
So, how does Citrus tackle this problem, this scattered, unused data graveyard? Their fusion product sounds like it fits here.
Precisely. Citrus Fusion. They describe it as a platform where you basically collect, connect, and combine all your market research data. Quant, qual, right down to the raw respondent level files.
Hmm.
Everything goes into one secure place. They call it the bucket.
Okay. The bucket? Simple enough?
But here's the really clever bit, apparently. You can then search, explore, and really interrogate all that combined data using flexible AI agents. They use this analogy, which I think is actually pretty brilliant. Spotify for your data.
Huh. I like that.
Right? The idea is finding insights in your massive data archive as easy as searching for a song you like. That semantic search across all these different data types, numbers, text, which could uncover connections you'd never spot otherwise, and hopefully stop you having to redo research constantly.
Spotify for your data. That really paints a picture, doesn't it? Finally having easy access. Okay, but you mentioned earlier that maybe standard AI tools, the off-the-shelf ones, aren't ideal for what we do. Can you explain that data formatting problem a bit more?
Yes, and this is super important for anyone in MR looking at AI tools, things like ChatGPT, Claude, NoICat. They're amazing at understanding and generating language text. They weren't really built for the complex, structured, quantitative survey data we deal with day in, day out. Those raw SPSS files, .sav or .csv files.
Right. The messy stuff.
Exactly. They can struggle with multivariate analysis, looking at how lots of different answers interact, and also with time series data tracking things over time, like sales or ad awareness. That's tricky. So Citrus seems to be tackling this specifically. They talk about their own proprietary technology built from the ground up to understand and handle the unique formats and the types of analysis we need in market research. It suggests a level of industry-specific know-how you just wouldn't get from a generic AI model.
That makes total sense. You can't just feed a raw survey file into a general AI and expect it to grasp things like weighting or complex questionnaire logic or skip patterns.
Precisely.
Okay, so Citrus has this three-layer tech stack. Can you break that down simply? How does it work for an agency manager?
Sure, let's simplify it. Think of 3 steps. Layer 1 is consolidate, basically making it easy to get all your data into that one central bucket we talked about. No more scattered files. They mentioned different ways, simple uploads, secure APIs to connect systems, maybe even crawlers for online data. Step 1, get it all together.
Okay, consolidate. Got it.
Layer 2 is extract. This is where the AI magic happens. Through a user-friendly interface, you access the advanced AI models, the machine learning tools, those AI agents we mentioned. That's the engine room.
Right, the analysis part.
And layer 3 is make it useful. This is all about the output, providing practical tools, maybe guided wizards that walk you through an analysis type, and crucially, outputting the results in formats we actually use. Think PowerPoint decks, PDFs, interactive dashboards, stuff you can share directly with clients.
Ah, okay. So it's not just the raw power. It's about making it usable and delivering insights in a client-ready format. Makes sense. Let's talk specifics then. The products. Citrus Predict, Leap, and Fusion. What are the core benefits of each for a small or medium agency?
Okay, let's start with Citrus Predict. This one seems laser-focused on forecasting.
Yeah.
Sales forecasting, market trends, media modeling, that sort of thing. The big plus here seems to be making this kind of analysis easier, quicker, and more robust at a lower cost than traditional methods. They position it as a kind of DIY tool. So you can take various time series data, maybe your own sales data, website traffic, campaign results, even external stuff like economic indicators, and use their AI to build more reliable predictions.
Okay, so it puts forecasting within reach even without a dedicated stats team.
That seems to be the idea. They mentioned subscription or project-based pricing, so it sounds flexible depending on how much forecasting you need to do.
Interesting. That could be a real game changer for offering more advanced modeling. What about Citrus Leap? The name sounds ambitious.
Yeah, Citrus Leap tackles the bread and butter of survey work. It's designed for advanced survey analysis and reporting, working directly from those raw .sav or .csv files. And this is where that 3 days down to 1 hour claim comes in. The potential time saving is huge.
Definitely.
Imagine slashing the turnaround time on complex analysis. It offers either AI-guided analysis, so it helps you along, or fully automated processes, covering everything from variable prep, figuring out the key research questions, running the analysis, including multivariate stuff, that identifying the main story, creating charts, and spitting out reports in PowerPoint, PDF, dashboards. the works.
Wow. Okay. So really automating a lot of the heavy lifting in survey analysis.
And the pricing model here is pay-as-you-go with credits or an enterprise subscription. So again, potentially scalable for smaller agencies. It could let you take on more complex projects you might currently avoid.
Leap sounds like a massive efficiency booster then, allowing teams to handle more complexity. Okay. And finally, Citrus Fusion. Back to Spotify for data.
Exactly. Citrus Fusion is the one for bringing all your data together, quant and qual, raw files in that central platform, that bucket. The key benefit here is enabling that seamless search, analysis, and visualization across everything using those AI agents. Think about searching across 5 years of survey data and all your focus group transcripts simultaneously for a specific theme.
Yeah, that would be powerful.
Finding connections you totally miss otherwise. Features to explore and interact with the data more intuitively. It could lead to much richer insights. Now, this one's noted as being currently in development and offered as an enterprise model, so perhaps aimed at agencies with larger data volumes or more complex integration needs initially. They also float an interesting idea down the line, potentially monetizing aggregated anonymized data by contributing it to a shared pool. That could be a whole new revenue stream.
That is an interesting thought for the future, generating revenue from data we already hold. Okay, but a practical question many listeners might have. Are they really focused on smaller agencies like mine, or is that just marketing?
Citrus is a B2B software company based in Scandinavia, founded by people with real experience in market research executives, entrepreneurs who've built MR companies and tech before.
Okay, so they know the industry.
And importantly, they explicitly state that small to medium independent agencies are a key target audience. It's not an afterthought. Plus, the fact they've secured full funding for this initial phase, based on the founders' previous successes, suggests they're serious and financially stable.
So for everyone listening, if you've got those servers full of old survey data, or you sometimes hesitate on bidding for projects needing advanced stats because of the time or cost, well, this sounds like something worth investigating further.
Absolutely. It really prompts you to think, doesn't it? All that data you've gathered, what insights, what connections are just sitting there undiscovered because the tools haven't been accessible. Think about the hours your team spends on manual data prep, running endless tables. What could they be doing instead if something like Citrus Leap could automate a big chunk of that?
More strategic thinking, maybe. Client engagement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest thing, how could getting access to these more advanced capabilities let you deliver much richer, more impactful insights? How could it set your agency apart, help you compete more effectively?
So, wrapping this up, what we've really dug into today is how platforms like Citrus are aiming to bring AI-driven analytics into the mainstream for small and medium MR agencies. They seem to be directly tackling those big hurdles.
Yeah.
Accessing skills, bringing scattered data together, and handling our industry's specific data formats.
Yeah, the core idea seems to be democratizing these powerful tools, making them genuinely accessible for agencies that don't have, a dedicated data science wing.
Maybe think about AI not as some distant future tech, but as a tool that could potentially make a real difference for you starting pretty much now. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.